What's up, y'all? It's Warren Hampton.
And Roicia Hampton.
We have a very special episode today. It is about our love.
Stay tuned.
Not for real.
For real?
This is Warren Hampton.
For real.
What's up, everybody? This is Warren Hampton. We're back. If you don't know, Not For Real was a podcast that started during COVID, and we just had an audio podcast, but we wanted to come back with a YouTube podcast. And so you know me, Warren Hampton. Many of you don't know. If you don't know, now you know. You can go check that out on all podcast platforms if you want to hear the old episodes. But now we got a breath of fresh air. And I am newly married to the love of my life, my best friend, the Hopi Queen. She's brilliant, beautiful, bold, and just a virtuous woman. My helpmate, Mrs. Roicia Hampton. Oh. Yes, this is her. Give it up for her. Look at her. She's so beautiful. Don't you agree? Thanks. So people need to know, last time I started the podcast, I wasn't married.
Right.
But we were talking and we were doing our thing and just getting to know each other. We have built, more than anything, a beautiful friendship.
Yes.
And I love you so much.
I love you too.
So please tell the people who you are, because I will just get lost in the moment with you looking in your eyes. So please tell them, and we're not putting it on. This is us every day. So we wanted to bless everybody and help everybody. So let me say this before you take your time. You are such a blessing to my life that I couldn't come back and do my podcast by myself anymore. It wouldn't be right, because we are one. So I'm blessed to share this platform with you, baby. I just want to say that.
Thank you.
Okay, so go.
And I'm just blessed to hop in and be with a man who's super creative, who likes doing things like this, and I could just come in and do my part and let you have creativity. So thank you for being a super talented human.
Yeah.
So my name
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry,
my name is Roicia. I am 34 years old, married to the love of my life.
Hey.
You might know him as Warren Stewart Jr. I just know him as...
Or Big Whoa.
Or Big Whoa, as I found out, and continue to find out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I know him as my soulmate and lover and best friend. I'm a social worker. I'm a healer.
Master social worker.
I'm a master social worker. I have my master's in social work from the University of Houston. Shout out Texas.
A.
Shout out H-Town.
H-Town.
Specifically.
B.
And I also now have my master's in Master of Legal Studies.
She's smart.
Emphasis in Federal Indian Law and Conflict Resolution from Sandra Day O'Connor.
Brilliant.
Arizona State University.
And I met her, by the way.
Yeah, so I am a community social worker, community advocate for mental health in the BIPOC community, specifically Black and Indigenous, because those are the communities that I am from. And
yes.
So I can speak from being Indigenous from that lens. I grew up in tribal community, northern Arizona. I grew up on the Hopi Reservation, and that's the culture that the foundation, the culture, the lens in which I live my life. People see me as a Black woman. I am a Afro-Indigenous woman and a res girl at heart. So although you might see a Black woman, I have a different lens in which I live my life, because my foundation was different in religion and ceremony and spirituality. And so the way I lived my life from that core is how I ended up in social work. So.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And you are a brilliant alchemist who has turned your pain into purpose and have an organization called Social Roots.
Yes, I'm a survivor of many different things. I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse. I'm a survivor of domestic violence, like literally
Poverty, extreme poverty on the res. Yeah.
extreme poverty. I'm as resilient as my ancestors allow me and push me to be.
And
Shout
you
out to
are
them.
not just a survivor, you're a thriver. You have now traveled
thriving.
the world.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you said,
I say that because some people just tell that story and they
Oh.
stay in that vicious cycle. But
it's hard to get out
about
of.
you, your humble beginnings and your humble continuings, I want to say. Like, you could be arrogant to say, you don't know what I've
I
been
come
through.
from the trenches.
Yeah, but the humility that you still have is where the favor of God comes on your life.
Thank you, babe. And it goes back to my foundation. Like that's why
Yes. Yeah.
although my childhood could be considered extreme in so many abusive types of ways and environments and violence that I was subjected to,
Yeah.
but all of that brought me to this point. And I remember when I was in my social work program, I was like, wow, God, you allowed me to go through all of those things so I can be super connected to the people that I'm serving and I can understand, where they're at. I've had many kids, in CPS care say, like, you don't know. I'm like, nah, I do know. Like, I can
Like,
share with you if you
nah.
want me to. Nah, for real.
He's like, nah.
But yeah, so say all that to say, yes, I worked very hard, very, very hard on myself and forgiving a lot of people who hurt me continuously through years and years and years. And so that allowed me to thrive.
Yeah.
And if I am being honest, academia was a place where I could pour a lot of that into. Some people choose music, be creative. I know this is going to get me somewhere, so I'm going to do this instead.
Yeah.
So double majored in undergrad and then went on to get my master's of social work, came back and started working for tribal communities. And then I realized, wow, I think I just have the solutions that I would like to see play out my way and not in a systemic organization rooted in whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, this ain't working for me. I think I have something different to offer the people, and that's how Social Roots came about. Thank you for reminding me, babe. So yeah, Social Roots is my organization.
Yes.
It's a consulting mostly. It's a business, and then last December, Social Roots Foundation
Yes.
was birthed.
Yes.
So it's a nonprofit that focuses on mental health in Black and Indigenous communities. And right now we have a couple scholarships that we support Black and Native women pursuing careers in the mental and behavioral health field. So that's how I give back. We've already, and it's in my mother's honor. So
Yes.
my mother passed from COVID. Unfortunately, COVID impacted tribal communities in a way that we still have not dealt with realistically from a government standpoint, but even from a social, emotional, we weren't allowed to bury a lot of the people that we loved in a way that we feel is good in our hearts. So, but yeah, my mother was a victim of COVID, and in her honor, we created the Bernice Kaibatoni Scholarship.
Yes.
And that's how I carry on my mother's legacy, because education was very important in our household.
I love that.
Thank
What
you.
else do you
know.
do? You have a
else?
mental
What
health.
else? What
You
else?
have a mental health summit coming up that you do annually.
Yes, so I have Attitude. Attitude is a mental health summit for African American women.
Yes.
This will be my 4th year hosting this. By the time this probably airs, we have
Yeah.
already concluded.
Yep.
That'll be the 4th and final summit that will be held in Phoenix, Arizona. And so what it is, it just focuses on, I have Black women professionals,
Yes.
from therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, PhDs, doctors, who are all Black women, and I wanted to eliminate the bias that we experience in the medical health field and really provide a preventative solution for the disproportionate health crisis that we see. So, we lead in a lot of these things, such as, cancers, breast cancers.
Yeah.
We lead in, all of the other things are important. Diabetes. We know these things.
Yeah.
But there are new leading things that I wanted and felt the need to shed light on. One of those things is mental health. And so mental health and stigma in the Black community is my primary focus with Attitude. And the more we talk about mental health, the more we can normalize it, the more that we can help our families heal and be able to thrive.
Yeah.
Because I was having a lot of conversations while I was in the field with grandmothers and raising grandchildren, and there was just this really deep-rooted shame and stigma associated with mental health and refusing to allow
taboo.
It's just deep.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, with the mistrust between medical professionals and the Black community, as we know, Tuskegee, all of these other experiments that they didn't write about, the mistrust and bias in the medical health field is real. So I acknowledge that, and as a solution, Attitude was that solution. And so in this, it's a all-day conference, Saturday, 8 to 5. We discuss many different topics that pertain to our health. And then Sunday, in very much Black people culture, we have deep spirituality.
Yeah.
And I could not have a conversation about mental health and not include God.
Yes.
So a lot of those things where we would pray it away, and but we also need to work on these things. Sometimes people really have a chemical imbalance and need medication to help balance that. Sometimes, it is an identity thing, and we can look where the root causes of that is coming from and help kids heal and families heal. So all of those things exist at the same time. Yeah. So on Sunday, we worship together, Black women, and it's super dope. There's like 100 Black women in Phoenix, Arizona. Like, you don't even know where these Black women are coming from. But
because it's always a different crowd.
There's like a handful.
There's a handful of
people who come
but
every single year, and then it's new Black women I never seen in my life.
That's what I love seeing.
I know, and it's not like the same, and that's the thing is, it's hard to find and identify these Black women professionals in Arizona, in Phoenix.
Yes.
And so the point of that is also, hey, look, we do have Black professionals here who can help. Like, you can find your therapist here, you can find your PCP here, you can find your gynecologist. We've had at least 3 speaking.
HIV testing,
free HIV testing. We also had free mammogram testing too, but I feel like there's so much happening at Attitude that people don't want to stop and go and get, which is even crazy because it's a free exam. But I understand not wanting to miss what's happening. Because
it's a line out there all day.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But we do a lot. And in that, there's an education component, of course, but in that we're providing community care and an opportunity for Black women to just be themselves and find community and love in each other, and in hopes get their cup filled too. Yeah. So we have a Black woman caterer who is feeding our souls with amazing food that she provides. Pinch and Stone, shout out. It's just a weekend of extreme gratitude for me that all of these women believe in the vision that God has given me to help them. So it's a gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful event. I've been at all of them. I'm the man behind all of her graphics and logos and you didn't
marketing.
My wings.
I'm the marketing.
You're my best employee, babe.
No,
you are.
I wanted to quit the first year. I was like, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit you. I'm gonna quit this conference. I'm gonna quit everything connected to you. It was getting on my nerves.
The Leo in me.
She thought I really worked for her. I was like, I ain't got no money. I mean, these trips is nice, but I need some money. You fed me. You loved me. I needed a W-2, 1099 something.
I'm sorry.
I need a 1099 from you by the end of this
You're right.
episode.
I'll take this time to publicly apologize for
You don't have to.
my
No.
behavior. It just, the pressure.
Yeah, it was.
There's
That first year was a lot.
There's a lot of pressure.
But it got better after we got a system, because I was like,
I know you was on.
I said, if you ain't gonna have no church bulletin for this conference, all right? Delete all these files. But no.
The graphic designs, Big Woe, shout out to Big Woe Designs.
Holla.
You guys see all of the consistent work and graphic design behind it's always top notch, and the booklets and the pamphlets and the flyers, and that's my boo,
And Caesar Graphics, our Latino
Caesar
brother
Graphics,
in Phoenix.
Shout out to Caesar Graphics.
Yeah.
We need some printing. But yeah, it's so thank you for bringing that up, because there's also a component and attitude that people don't realize is the money that corporate or whoever gets to me.
Yes.
I get to bless other Black businesses in our community,
and
or
brown
small
businesses.
Black and brown.
Yeah.
Intentionally Black first, and if need be, brown.
And women.
So, women-led businesses. And so I get to be a blessing to other small businesses in our community that may not, desserts.
Yeah.
Desserts were there one year with Parche.
Yeah. And what I've also seen, because you do give back like that, and it's not like hey, look at me, I'm giving back. You just invite them to be vendors. But because of that exposure, a lot of these women, their businesses have exploded.
Yeah.
And that's just the favor of God. That's why I said the favor of God is on you. So he that find a wife finds a good thing.
You gotta preach it.
And finds favor with God. I'm not gonna let go of my favor. Come here, ha shut up. So I'm gonna keep that favor with me. But I've seen literally I've watched you grow. I've watched you develop. I've watched you become a humble servant leader. Not I won't say not become humble. You're already humble, but a servant leader at a capacity that I didn't even think you knew. And when I met you, you had greatness hours, and I've seen those greatness hours become greatness holistic community events. And you need to get the flowers that you deserve, because you literally gave Phoenix a blueprint, and other organizations get money, and you keep putting your own money up and partnering with so many people, and you just simply ask. And so I commend you for not giving up. I ain't gonna let you give up, but I want you to rest when I want you to rest. But when I see your vision come to fruition, I get to stand back and watch, from seeing it in an incubation stage to germination and manifestation. So
it's crazy.
It's beautiful.
Thank you, babe. I wanted to go back for context, to greatness hours.
Yes.
So in 2017, I already knew I was working to quit my job. Mm-hmm. I was in a super toxic work environment.
Yes.
That was taking its own toll on my physical health. And so I knew I wanted to do something different. Mm-hmm. I had that social roots idea kind of in me. Didn't know it would lead me to attitude or any of the other awesome things we've done. But I said, if I could work 8 hours a day for somebody else whom can't even go down that road with the level of toxicity. Mm-hmm. But I at least can dedicate 2 to 3 hours to myself that day to work on my vision, work on me, whatever business, whatever I'm creating, my website, whatever that is. And so you said, I literally was like, no, I have greatness hours and I don't know why I named it that, greatness hours, but I just felt like greatness hours is if I want to be great, I need to dedicate time to myself. And so I was already doing this in 2017 and allocating time for the vision that I did not know I would be sitting in 5 years later, that people would have invested their own time and money and energy into me. But greatness hours are needed. Yeah. And we cannot exert all of our energy, time and resources to other people who literally will replace us tomorrow if they can, if they could, if they should.
Right.
So, that's what greatness hours
in a right to work state.
In a right to work state.
Right. They literally could get rid of you at any time.
Right.
You know.
And at the time, I was working for tribal government, so it was
Well,
a little
right.
different, but
Yeah.
maybe not better, but different.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of love in me came from. Well, I already said that backwards. So lots of self-love
Yeah.
came from me in that experience because
Yeah.
I literally had to start choosing me.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how I'm going to work this out, quitting this job and starting this business, but I'm going to figure it out. And oh my God, health insurance and like my 401k, all of these things I literally gave up.
Yeah.
Because I was simultaneously building social roots at the same time. I at least had something to stand on. And once I did, that's when I started hitting the community hard.
I know.
And I had more time to be in the community, which brings us to...
Oh, I love the way you did that. I said, let me sit up now. Because that's about where I come in. So I'm sure people want to know.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I was in the community. I'm a community servant leader, and I know a lot of people, been in Phoenix all my life, and was working for Harvest of Hope Family Services, and I was doing the foster care initiatives, and a mutual acquaintance sent you to my event.
Yes.
And you walked in. You walked in. We ain't paying for that. But Prince said you walked in. That's about. You walked in with the black dress and the bun and the little loafers. I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Is this?" You know what? I think we're done tonight. We want to thank everybody for coming out. Let us pray. And I have a picture of you that somebody took. You are standing up with your head bowed when I'm praying.
Oh.
That's the first picture of us that somebody got from that event.
Oh.
And I just wanted to talk to everybody so that I could talk to you. Okay, you good? Thank you for coming. Thank you. Oh, good to see you too.
Yeah.
Hello, young lady. How are you? I said, what's your name? And I just sat down and she had an attitude.
That's true.
She was hangry. She had a little chicken thing. Said, what you
He
want?
had this vegan lady.
Because I was trying to be healthy.
Yeah, which was good.
Black woman friend.
Shout out to
Chef Crystal.
Yeah,
Trash Panda.
Trash Panda and Chef Crystal.
Yeah.
And so at the point, let me go back. Toxic work environment.
Yes.
I had already worked at least, because it was over. The event was over.
Yeah,
By the
you
time
came
I
in
got
right
there,
at the end.
It was like 7:30 or whatever. And so I had worked obviously 2.5 hours more than I should have. That led me to get to your event late. But so yeah, I was hangry. I was exhausted.
Yes.
And whatever little food you had set up that was left over, I was over there scraping and scraping a little meatball. Like, what is this? Don't even care.
Right.
So yeah, I made my way to the table and I was like, Lord, let me just get some food in me because I'm not nice right now.
Yeah.
And so then you came up to me, what is your name? Yes.
Well, yeah, and you were just talking to me, and I was sitting down on the table, and you were just looking up at me like, I was like, oh, she got attitude. I was like, but I could change it. She cute. I was like, and then you gave me 3 of your cards, and I put it in my suit jacket. Literally last year, I found those cards in the suit jacket. Never used them until you left, and you told that mutual acquaintance. What did you say?
Oh my God.
What did you say? You got to give the full context.
No.
Okay, you say he fine.
Okay, well, I did. I said, well, he's... Do you want me to say
No,
it?
you ain't got to say it. You ain't got to say it. I'm just like,
You remember
I know you going to say it. You going to say it?
You know what he said.
Nah, we ain't going to give it no. Anyway, long story short, there was another meeting for foster care, and you needed me to...
Well, I was building. I was community organizing and building, and so I was given the opportunity to lead this initiative with foster care in a, what was it called?
We the People.
We the People conference. And so it was important to me to have a diverse panel of speakers that can actually speak to foster care for those marginalized communities. So you were a representation for the African American community.
Yes.
And then I had LGBTQ, Indigenous.
Yes, and I want to rewind though. Did you say that you were adopted? You said that.
I did not say that.
Okay, so that's because I was like, I think we're missing that connection of foster care and adoption.
Cool.
So can you share that part from
Yes.
your story?
Which is still...
And then we could pick back up.
Okay,
Yeah.
attacking that.
Yeah.
So this is still kind of unveiling as I'm 34 years old, but
Mm-hmm.
I was a child who was born into the foster care system.
Yes.
We're still unraveling those pieces with my natural mother, but the point is I was in foster care until I was 8 and adopted by my Hopi mom. My bloodline is Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, the tribe of Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska. And so I claim Hopi because that's my tribal enrollment, but I claim Hopi because that's what the culture that I was raised and grew up in. And so, yeah, I'm adopted, 8 years old.
Yes. And so I get the job working for the foster care initiatives. I'm on the governance council in the community, and I see you, and it sparks like it's like buttons went off in my body, that my soul that I ain't never went
All
off.
that.
And I was like, ooh, who is this? And I was like, I'm in the community, but I ain't met her.
And I'm like, who are you?
I'm like, who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you? Like,
That's literally, okay, so as I'm angry,
Yeah.
hangry, I'll say, as I'm hangry, he's literally over here trying to smile in my face, and like, you're the person I came to see, which I was more focused on the flyer and what I was like there for foster care. I did not know it was like intentionally like to meet you. I'll say that. Because it was like the foster care event and the things. And I was like, oh, I'm going to come here and network and know more of this community.
What do you mean
I
by
wasn't like going to this event to see Warren Stewart Jr.
I know that because you didn't know me.
I did not know you.
Oh, so you said you weren't going to intentionally meet me.
Correct.
Okay, you had to clear that up.
Yes.
But God was intentional. He was intentional about. That's what I was trying to get to. I said you weren't intentional, but
Well, yeah, because you literally came up to me and I'm like mid pretend chicken wing
I know.
eating.
Yeah.
And was like, okay, who is you? And
Yeah.
you're like, go ahead, say, what did you say? You're like, I'm Warren
Stewart
Stewart.
Jr.
And I was like, okay. And in my mind,
I'm like, you don't know
I'm
me?
like, who are you? And you're also like, who am I?
Yeah.
Because we obviously have met the same people around.
And never cross paths.
Never cross paths.
And so I'm glad you said it like that, because the threads of our life,
Yes.
it has been like our
Orbiting.
planets have been orbiting. She literally served at my dad's church
In
a
college.
year after I left and started my first church. Has a picture with my dad.
I know.
Didn't know about me. Like,
In college, it's me and my best friends that we still best friends together this day with your dad just hugged up with us. And I'm like, this is our like community service stuff that we do every year that we do with FIBC.
and your
Oh,
mentor.
and that's what I was saying at the time. I was like, oh, well, if you're the junior, I know your dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, we served with your dad before.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
It was all click. We were trying to find the meeting point. Like,
Yeah.
we know people who know us, and we've been.
Well, then,
Yeah.
while I was in college,
And my little brother.
friend, who is no longer my friend,
Yes.
was roommates with your father's wife's
His
daughter.
stepdaughter.
His stepdaughter. Your
Yeah.
father's stepdaughter.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like,
So you met the crazy
oh.
side of the family before you met me, and that, I was like,
The bar was low.
we
no.
ain't. I was like, you met who? Which brother? Ah.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, so then that, in my mind, I'm like, oh, so then that means the person in my age group, your sibling
Yeah.
in my age group,
Yeah.
I
'Cause
was like, I know him.
I'm older. I'm not gonna say my age, but
So I was like, oh, I know your brother. Like, I know, let me clear that up. I knew of him.
Yes,
I did
yes.
not know him.
yes.
I knew more so about the drama. I don't know why there was just always with that.
Well, it still is because they need to be on medication. That's why. And people don't want to talk about mental health issues
go
that
into
have
that.
mental health issues. Yeah, that ain't it for this episode. This episode is just getting to know this beautiful
Yes.
woman of God that I married, and We had a beautiful wedding on 11/11, and I want to kind of just put a cap on this first part
Yeah.
and come back and continue the story about our love story and how we got here and why we are doing this podcast, who this podcast is for, what may be the result. Your whole life may change after after watching this podcast, because that's really our intent.
Yeah.
Is that we want to help you focus on self-love, loving God, loving others, living in abundance, being able to have healthy communication, emotional intelligence, all the good things that help you be a good human. We need more good humans, and love is our greatest superpower, and we need to live our most authentic lives. And you really help me live in my authenticity and in gratitude more than anyone. And you help push me to wholeness. God used you. So when you may not have been intentional about meeting me that day, but God,
Who are you?
but God, oh, I need the organ app. He
Yeah.
was intentional. Look, I couldn't even stop telling you. He was. He was intentional about us meeting, but
Yeah.
it had to be at the right time,
Yeah.
in the right place. And I'm just glad that I'm here, because I wouldn't be here without you. You.
Soft high five.
Soft high five. Ha. So the not for real moment in our lives, there's been so many that we could go through, but
Yeah.
I thank you for sharing a little piece of your story, and I know we'll pick back up a little later. So thank y'all for tuning in to this episode. Tune into the next one, because it's just going to be